Sasashnaya. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Wizarding Wiz. I've got another theory for you today. And this one, it's kind of speculative, and maybe we'll get proven, maybe we'll get disproven, or maybe we'll never actually know, but it does involve Fantastic Beasts, or specifically one character from both Fantastic Beasts and the Harry Potter franchise. I am talking, of course, about Voldemort's snake, Nagini, who we meet in Fantastic Beasts' Crimes of Grindelwald, and we know to be an actual human witch with an unfortunate blood disease known as maledictus. Now, witches and or wizards who are maledictus suffer from a blood disease that eventually will lead them to permanently being stuck in a beast form. In Nagini's case, it is a snake. Now, when we see Nagini in Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, she seems like a good person. Tortured and tormented, yes, because she's in captivity and forced to work for the circus and change repetitively without ever knowing if she's going to be able to change back after the fact. And, of course, we know that at some point she does, in fact, get stuck in her animal form. But we also see that she is overall a good person. She, in fact, tries to talk Credence out of joining Grindelwald. She does not seem like somebody who likes the dark arts. So why, 50 years later, does she decide to join Lord Voldemort? Well, there are a few other theories out there floating around, one of which by one of my favorite YouTube channels, the Super Carlin Brothers, where they say that perhaps it is because Voldemort is the first person Nagini has seen in decades that can talk to her, and so she wants that interaction. She hasn't been able to talk to humans in forever since she gets stuck. Now, we don't know exactly when she gets stuck. It could be 30 years, it could be 40 years, it could be 50 years, but by the time we see her again, it's closer to 50 years. And we know that Voldemort was hiding in the forest where she was living, so somewhere between 40 and 50 years, they meet. And she decides to join him. Now, while the Super Carlin Brothers theory is awesome and pretty solid at the same time, I have a bit of my own theory, sort of semi-working off of their theory. It does have to do with the fact that Voldemort can speak to Nagini, but also on the fact of what Voldemort's goal is when he regains power, which is kill Dumbledore, kill Harry Potter. Now, Nagini has no reason to hate Harry. She doesn't even know who Harry is, as far as we know, until Voldemort says something to her, but she does know Dumbledore and maybe has a reason for hating him. Let me explain. At the end of Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, we see Nagini begging Credence not to go, not to join Grindelwald, hinting that Nagini is not a fan of the dark arts and is not a fan of Gellert Grindelwald. Now, Credence insists that he has to go because Grindelwald knows who he really is, who his parents really are, what his real name is, all of it. He knows, supposedly. And so Credence goes, leaving Nagini sad. And then we see at the end of the movie, Nagini is with the group that we know help fight Grindelwald and may even be the precursor to the Order of the Phoenix formed later to fight Voldemort. Now, we do know that at some point in time, Dumbledore will go and fight Grindelwald, and we do know that Dumbledore will win. We also know that Grindelwald's plan with Credence is to get him to fight Albus Dumbledore for him, whether because he is actually scared of Dumbledore's power and knows Dumbledore is stronger than him, or because he thinks that he cannot fight Dumbledore one-on-one because of the blood pact. Either way, we know that his intention is to get Credence to fight for him. Well, what if he succeeds in getting Credence to fight for him, and what if during that fight Dumbledore kills Credence. Now we know Dumbledore wouldn't kill if he could avoid it, and maybe he didn't kill Credence, or maybe he did because he couldn't avoid it, or maybe something happened that led to Credence's death, and Nagini flat out blames Dumbledore. Either one of these scenarios would lead Nagini to hate Dumbledore, in my opinion, and maybe even want to exact revenge. But being a maledictus, being scared for her life, she flees and goes into hiding after the war. Maybe. Don't know. Don't know why she's in the forest where Voldemort can find her. Maybe she's embarrassed. Maybe it's just because she's a beast, can't live among people anymore. Either way, I think that she goes to this forest with a grudge against Dumbledore, and that is how Voldemort gets her on his side. Yes, he is the first human, sort of, that she can talk to in decades because she's been stuck as a snake. For how long, we don't know, but we can assume at least 30 years or so. Voldemort meets her. She tells him her story. He knows that she was once a witch. She knows that he is an evil dark wizard hell-bent on immortality and world domination, and yet still joins him when she was unwilling to join Grindelwald, because Voldemort promises her revenge on Dumbledore. He promises to kill Albus Dumbledore, and that's what Nagini wants, because Dumbledore, for one reason or another, whether by his own hand, by accident, or led to the cause of it, killed Credence. I mean, let's be honest. The death of somebody you really care about is enough to drive people to do very insane things. We see it all the time in real life. People who are hurting and or mourning do crazy things. Now, she's had 30, 40, 50 years or so to dwell on this and to enrage herself upon this and gorge on the fact that she wants revenge on Dumbledore for whatever reason that caused Credence's death, and Voldemort has offered it to her. And so, because he can talk to her for the first time in decades, and he promises the revenge she seeks, she is willing to join him and do his bidding, and even allow him to turn her into a Horcrux. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with my theory? Do you think that Nagini wants revenge on Dumbledore and that is why she joins Voldemort, even though we know that deep down she was not an evil person? Or do you think maybe she's so far gone into the beast mentality that she just does it willingly because it's part of her instinct now? Or do you think it's for some other reason? Maybe you agree 100% with Super Carlin Brothers and disagree 100% with me. Maybe you agree with both of us. I agree with both of us. I like their theory, and of course, obviously, since I came up with it, I like my own theory. And no, they don't know I'm talking about them in this video, although if any of you watch them and want to put them onto it, please feel free. I would not mind getting their input on this as well. I would love, in fact, to hear their thoughts on this. So if any of you watch them and feel like pointing them in my direction, by all means, go for it. That's all I have for you today, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. You're not going to want to miss it. And until then, stay safe and watch out for those Dementors.